Hi everyone, welcome to the Woolly Wonka Fibers podcast. My name is Anne and this is a video podcast about my knitting, spinning, some other crafty things, some reading, my indie dye and design business. I think that's it. You can find me on the web at www.woollyWonkaFiber.com. I am also on Instagram and Facebook as Woolly Wonka Fibers, and I have a Ravelry group by the same name. Today is Sunday, October 29th, 2017. Had a moment forgetfulness there about the date. It's been kind of a crazy couple of weeks since I talked to you guys last. I have gone to DC and come back. Had a great visit with my husband. Got to see my in-laws and our nephews and my parents. Went to a great concert at the Kennedy Center. Had a couple of nice dinners out. Enjoyed very Indian summer-like weather. We actually went to the Maryland Renaissance Festival on their last weekend for a couple of hours last Saturday. That was fun. Yeah, so now I'm back home, kind of getting settled back in. My husband will be home now, and it'll be 3 weeks, just before Thanksgiving. So we will kind of be homebodies, I think, for the remainder of the year. At least I will. Things here are kind of unsettled. I will not have any spinning to talk about today because I am in the process of moving everything that is in the downstairs area upstairs because I'm having my flooring replaced. Excuse me. Which unfortunately means that I kind of have all my spinning stuff packed up, my extra bobbins, everything like that are in bins. Everything's sitting on top of everything else upstairs. So it's a little tough to get my spinning things out to actually use. So while I have singles ready to be plied, I am not in a position to actually do the plying. And I'm probably going to be a couple more weeks, maybe not until, let's say mid-November by the time the guys come, rip the flooring up, put the new flooring in, and then I put everything back. So stay tuned, that we'll get back to that as we go. So no spinning to talk about today, but I do have, let's start with a couple of admin type notes. First off, if you have been participating in the Socktober knit along, you have a couple of days more, Monday and Tuesday, to get your socks finished up and upload some pictures into the FO thread on the Woolly Wonka Fibers forums in Ravelry. There will be a prize drawing on November 1st. And I will mail those out I will mail the prize out to the lucky winner. That will be drawn by random number generator. Next up, we are getting geared up in about a month. Excuse me, I got the coughsies today, to start making some final approach plans for the kickoff of the 2018 Woolly Wonka Palooza knit along. All of the specifics of that are in the Ravelry group. I'll put a link below to that so you can find it. Please come and join us if you're so inclined. I think it'll be a great way to try some new things, step out of your comfort zone, use up some stash, just have sort of a fun crafting time over the course of 2018. Again, prizes for that and all the information is listed in the Ravelry group forum post on that. Almost next month, December, I will have pattern suggestions for the January topics, and also have a list of available colorways that will be discounted in the shop. It will apply to anything that's already dyed and ready to go out the door, plus any custom orders. So if there's something that you'd like to order to work on for January, you'll have the opportunity to do that with a coupon code to get 20% off on any yarn or fiber that you order for those projects. I hope that's clear. All right, let's talk finished items. The November, the Herbarium Club, the Texture Club packages have shipped. I will be releasing the pattern tomorrow morning. So it will be live by the time you guys see this video. Again, link below. This is knit using my Aarton DK, which is the Merino Cashmere Nylon blend, and it is a hat and mittens set. The colorway is mulberry. It's a deep dark purple. So the hat is a little bit of a slouchy beanie. It has cabled pattern and some textured knit purl stitches on it. This is the Blackthorn hat. And these are the Blackthorn mittens. Folks in the club, you received 2 skeins of this DK weight yarn. You can knit these using any DK weight. They basically each, the mittens take approximately 3/4 of a skein. The hat also takes approximately 3/4 of a skein. Same textured pattern, cabled pattern on the mittens, and afterthought thumbs. I think that shows them off pretty well. Glad to be able to show these off to you guys because it has been cold enough here that I am wanting to wear them in the mornings when I take the dogs out. We had a cold snap. It was only in the 50s yesterday, going to be a little bit warmer today, but I did have my first couple fires of the weekend, so that felt really good. I sat and watched Edward Scissorhands last night, and I don't know, it's kind of almost a Christmas film, but I think anything Tim Burton does is spooky enough to qualify as a Halloween kind of thing, so I was gearing up for that. Okay, so those were the Blackthorn mittens and hat. Again, that pattern is live on Ravelry. It is the last of the Herbarium Club texture patterns to be going out the door to club members for 2017. One more pattern, which is for the Lace Club, and that will go out the first thereabouts of December for those club members. So what am I working on? This is my Comfort, I think it's called the Comfort Fade Cardigan. By the same designer, Drea Renee Knits, who has designed the Find Your Fade shawl as well as a bunch of other sort of fade themed pieces. I'm knitting this in my Aislinn DK, which is a 100% superwash merino DK weight, using 4 colors. I showed you guys the skeins, that's the word I'm looking for. Skeins I was using last time I saw you. I have done all of the raglan shaping, put the sleeves on their little scrappy yarn to wait to get picked up. I am working my way down the body. I am just starting the final color, which is this kind of grayish purple. That will live down here at the bottom. It's got little specks of turquoise and silver and kind of a berry color in it. So that will be the final faded part here, and then there's another solid portion to take it down to the hem. So kind of in the home stretch on the body for that, and then sleeves and the big comfy collar to wear. Really enjoying this. It's a fast knit. I didn't take this with me on my travels, so I haven't worked on it in about a week. The front does not look like much at this point because there is no collar. The collar is very wide and shawl collar that folds over in garter stitch. So that's where I am now, just about the waist depth, I would say. Gonna forge along on that in the hopes that I have it ready to wear for the end of the year. The project I did take with me, and which I am hoping to finish up this week, is my Sagebrush Infinity Scarf, patterned by Romy Hill. This is a stash busting single skein project. I am knitting it in a superwash merino singles yarn called Tendril from the Tail and Tendril Company on Etsy in the Gringotts colorway. And this is where I am on this piece. So there's a total of 18 pattern repeats and I have finished 15. So I have 3 more pattern repeats left to do. Love how this is coming out. Let's get it something behind it, help you guys maybe see the color a little bit better. There we go. So it's kind of a dusty sagebrush green with some sort of darker olive greens and some little pops of gold, which I think is perfect for sagebrush since that's basically what it looks like. Doesn't look like very much now since it's not blocked, but I will finish the last 3 repeats, then the ends get grafted, and I think even though the instructions say to graft the ends first, I think I'm gonna block it and really open that lace up, and then I can join the ends together. I think that will make the lace pattern open up more easily if I can block it out completely flat. So that's my current plan. Gonna work on this a bit this afternoon, try to get this finished up this week, so hopefully I will have it to wear, as well as to show you guys for the next podcast in a couple of weeks. I have started work on another secret knitting project, which I can't show you. It's a contract knitting design piece. We'll show it off when it's finished. Stay tuned for that. It's a sweater and fingering weight, so it's going to probably be a while, and it's not going to be released to the public until 2018 anyway, so you guys will have to wait a little bit for that. Catching you up a little bit on my stitching. I am working on this with some intent to be focused on it. This is the Star Weaver piece, which I have been working on since April, artwork by Tom Cross, charted by the Heaven and Earth Designs Company, and it is this magical wizard. And I am in the home stretch, and by home stretch I mean like 3,500 stitches left. So not quite as homey as maybe one would like, but here is where I am on that. I have the wizard's hat done, his top hand, and his face, and all but the very, very bottom of his beard right there. This is his other hand, and this black mark that you see right there, that is the bottom of the piece. So I'm almost there. My hope is to work on this the next couple of days and try to get down to that, just so I have a sort of visual reference for where the bottom is. But I want to stay focused on this and get it done because it's planned as a holiday gift, and I still need to obviously, you know, get it framed once it's finished and send to my dad on the East Coast. So that is what I'm working on in the world of stitching right now. Love this piece, love the detail in it. So much fun to stitch, just not a fast piece to stitch. So working on that. And I think that brings us to books. Now, I have a bunch to talk about in that respect today because when I travel, a lot of times if I am someplace that it's hard to like actually find a seat, I flew in and out of Reagan, and the gates for Southwest at Reagan, if you've been there, are horrible. There's like nowhere to sit. It's super busy. It's super noisy. You kind of can't get away from it. So I also have been trying to stand up whenever I'm not actually seated on the airplane. My back, for whatever reason this year, has been horrible. And so sitting in the airplane seats makes it really stiffen up. And I find if I stand up and walk around in between flights or before my flight rather than sitting in one of the hard chairs, helps a lot. But it's very hard to knit that way. at least patterned things, you know, to kind of be hauling around a bag with the knitting pulled out of it. So the short version of this is I wound up reading a fair amount during my flights. So I finished the book called Speaks the Nightbird. Again, all the links will be below to their Goodreads pages. This is a book by Robert McCammon. It's a book that was midway in my to be read list, which is the week on my reading challenge that I checked that box for. It's a historical mystery. It's set in the Carolinas in 1699. And the story opens with a magistrate and his young clerk going to this town where a woman has been imprisoned and charged with witchcraft. And so the magistrate and his clerk go to basically hear the testimony and to try this woman. The town of Port Royal is on the very edge of the Carolina border, and beyond it is the Spanish-owned, Spanish-controlled area of Florida and all of the Native American tribes. And this town has been built up around a clear spring that feeds this lake. That's the city's water supply. A good book. It is the first in a series. I think it is this author's first book ever. There were some parts in it while he's kind of setting the stage when they arrive in this town that dragged a little bit. I think could have used a bit more editing. But that said, the story is interesting. The group of characters that he has built in this town is interesting. It is a good mystery. You kind of think you know who's done it, and then you think, no, that can't be right. And then twists and turns comes to the end. It was very entertaining for me. I loved the fact that the author did a goodly amount of research on the colonial period in this area, which is not as well known as, let's say, some of the more northern areas where there were bigger urban centers. Does a really good job tying in, you know, because this is pre-revolution, so there's a lot of ties to Britain and the British legal system, and there's a backstory with the clerk and the magistrate. So 4 out of 5 stars. I thought it was a very good read. It was extremely entertaining. Like I said, could use a little bit of editing, I think, in about a third of the way through, but otherwise, by the time I got to the last third of it, I couldn't put it down. That was all I wanted to do, was sit and see what happened to these people, to these characters. So that was book number 1. I had originally picked a different book for the week's topic that is an adventure book. And my dad said, oh, I have a book I think you would like. And so since he had it, I decided to replace that topic with this, which is The 100-Year-Old Man Who Climbed Out the Window and Disappeared. The author is Jonas Jonasson. He's Swedish. This is definitely an adventure book, but not an adventure like Indiana Jones adventure. The story starts with the main character, who is Alan Carlson, and he's turned 100 when the book opens. And the nursing home he lives in is going to be throwing him a party. And Alan decides he doesn't really want a party. And so he opens the window to his room and he steps out and he basically goes on walkabout. The book is told through the things that are happening to him in present day, where he's the centurion. But Alan has had a very interesting life. He has been all over the world, and to some extent, it feels a little bit like Forrest Gump. Excuse me. I'm so sorry. That snuck up on me. Alan is a little bit like Forrest Gump in that he has been involved in many, many historical happenings throughout the 20th century. But not always in a way in which he has decided to be an active participant. He's brighter than Forrest Gump, but let's just say that fortune plays a large role in Alan's life and where he's wound up and how he's made it to be 100. There's a bunch of sort of running jokes throughout. He winds up falling in with a group of folks who are this kind of zany cast of characters. There's a stolen suitcase. There's an ex-convict. There's an elephant named Sonia. There's some mob members, and there's a lot of vodka involved, as well as Einstein's younger, not very bright brother. So I can't, beyond that, I can't even explain like a genre that this book falls into. It's historical fiction. It's a little bit slapsticky, but it has a very dry humor. It's not the kind of book I normally would read, but my dad's right. I did enjoy it. It was fun. It was funny. It was sort of a great romp through 20th century history. So I do have the print copy. If there's anybody who would like me to send it to them, the first person who asks for it, I will be glad to pass it along if you think that this might be a read that you would like. I will again leave a link to the Goodreads page down below so you can read their reviews and their notes. Yeah, just a fun read. And then finally, I've just started this week when I got home, I started a new book called Stronger Than Magic by Melinda, I think it's Van Loan is how she says her last name, or Van Loan. Anyway, Stronger Than Magic. I'm only about a third of the way through this book. I will finish it, but I will say that I think the book is not sure what the book wants to be when it grows up. It could be a fantasy book. It's sort of young adult, but not. It might be like, as my mom calls, heaving bosom. It's almost down that road of sort of romance, but not quite. Yeah, I will let you all know what I think about it when I finish it. But right now, it's a little bit scattered for me. I'm having a really hard time deciding, is our heroine rite of passage? Is she going to grow as a character? Is she going to stay kind of snotty and teenage sounding even though she's an adult? I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, I will finish that book. I will be happy to tell you guys about that next time I speak with you, which will be November. Hard to believe the end of the year is creeping up on us in about 60 days. That's mind-boggling to me. I have no idea where 2017 has zipped off to, but there you go. Did I cover everything? Let me look at my notes here real quick. I did. I think that is it for this go round. So thank you guys for joining me. If you're a new subscriber or new listener, thank you so much for choosing to check me out and spending some time with me. If you are one of my longtime listeners, I greatly appreciate that you choose to come back and listen to me chat about various and sundry things. I also greatly appreciate that. I appreciate all of your comments, your likes, your notes, your private messages, your feedback, all of that good stuff. So until I talk to you all again next time, which, as I said, will be in early November, I hope you have a great couple of weeks and lots of time for crafty goodness. Take care. Bye.